gas or abdominal discomfort?
Taking Align can help.
Align contains a quality probiotic
To naturally help soothe digestive upsets 24/7. Try Align, the pros in digestive health.
We gotta tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. And we gotta do it fast.
Woo! New personal record, Limu!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Tomorrow on ET, our exclusive with Channing Tatum in London for the Lost City premiere, plus the latest on Magic Mike 3.
It's not easy to give a lap dance.
I have the same problem. All right, we leave you now with the cast of The Bubble. The comedy drops Friday on Netflix, which just so happens to be April Fool's Day, y'all. Beware. Take care.
All right, we're going to play a little game with you guys since we have you all here together.
Happening now.
Murdered at the start of 2022. Now both suspects are in custody. We're going to talk with the family of Patrick Zavala as we approach 3 months since his murder. What they have to say about the pair of teenagers that are now charged in connection with it.
The wind has been howling. We'll talk about when it's going to finally calm down, along with some unseasonably cool temperatures in just a bit.
And where do we stand with inflation? What experts predict for the coming months? The news at 5 starts right now. Shot in the head but not cooperating. First at 5, we have breaking news from the city's north side. It's an injury San Antonio police tell us one man sustained after he was shot on Alamitos. That's near Edison High School.
Here's what we know. A woman showed up with 2 others. Some type of altercation happened. The victim shot by someone in that group. At first, the victim told officers he was only pistol whipped, but officers later confirmed that he'd been shot in the head. And while that's considered a severe injury, he was taken to the hospital and was not listed in critical condition. Right now, investigators are looking for at least one person, possibly questioning 2 others. 2 teenagers behind bars today charged with the January 3rd murder of Patrick Zavala, what appears to be a botched robbery. Derek Sentmore and Kevin Luna, both 17 at the time of that shooting.
And now they both face a capital murder charge. Garrett Berger talked with the victim's family to get their reaction.
Why did you shoot Patrick?
Walked in front of news cameras Wednesday, Kevin Luna had little to say about the murder of 27-year-old Patrick Zavala, found shot once in his father's truck in the 6700 block of Ingram Road on January 3rd.
There was some type of altercation that occurred inside the vehicle because the suspects allegedly attempted to rob the victim.
The other suspect, Derek Sentmore, arrested Tuesday. The evidence laid out in the arrest affidavit includes surveillance video, fingerprints, and social media messages, most of it related to Luna, including audio messages investigators found from Luna saying he'd shot a man in the chest. Police, though, say they don't know which teen pulled the trigger.
But it's law of parties and capital murder, so they both are just as culpable.
Zavala's family and best friend still hurting over the loss of the San Antonio college student.
I just can't believe they did it, and at a young age, they ruined their lives.
And his mother making an emotional plea for gun control.
Please go to the government, go to the White House, and please take all the guns away because they're killing innocent people. They killed my baby. And who's going to give him back to me? Nobody.
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
An update on a body found at a West Side apartment complex earlier this month. A woman identified as 44-year-old Eileen Diaz. The medical examiner is still trying to figure out her exact cause and manner of death. We do know SAPD investigating her death as a homicide. Diaz was actually found March 11th at the Westward Plaza Apartments and Townhomes. That's in the 2600 block of Westward Drive. Investigators were not sure whether she died in the parking lot or if she was dumped there.
A 22-year-old man facing charges after he reportedly stabbed 2 people last night. This was at a home on Misty Plain, not too far from Highway 90 and Loop 1604. According to Bexar County Sheriffs, the Joshua Navarro was arguing with the 66-year-old victim before he was then stabbed multiple times.
Yeah, he then stabbed an 18-year-old who tried to intervene. The victims managed to push Navarro out of the home and lock him out. He was arrested at the scene. At last check, the victims were in critical condition.
An update now on that Das Goat fire, the Medina County fire. That fire now 100% contained.
Yeah, this after it burned through more than 1,000 acres just over the last several days. Yesterday, people were let back into their homes, but fire crews were still asking everyone to stay vigilant because of persistent drought and fire conditions across the region.
The fires first started on Friday when a vehicle caught fire. A total of 3 homes were destroyed. We want to bring you the latest on the war in Ukraine. New video and images showing the Russian destruction on Ukrainian cities. Several neighborhoods now completely destroyed. The Pentagon confirming that it is seeing small groups of Russian soldiers leaving Kiev, but not withdrawing. Ukraine's President Zelensky says any peace deal must include a security guarantee from the U.S. and Western countries. Now, this includes providing weapons to Ukraine and enforcing that controversial no-fly zone, something the U.S. says it cannot yet enforce.
Take an Uber. That's what San Antonio Police Chief William McManus is encouraging people to do while visiting the St. Mary's Strip this weekend. Starting tomorrow, SAPD will be barricading parts of the area in an effort to limit access to residential streets. Part of a traffic study to address parking and traffic concerns for residents in the Tobin Hill Neighborhood Association.
The people who live in the neighborhoods will be allowed to pass the barricades. The folks who are going to there's some restaurants and whatnot within that area. If they're going to those restaurants, they'll be allowed in. But it's the drinkers that we're trying to keep out of the neighborhoods late at night.
Those barricades will extend from East Magnolia Avenue near Candlelight all the way to Demos Greek Food off of East Ashby Place until Sunday, April 3rd. It's not a 24/7 situation, though. The less than half a mile stretch will be closed from 7 p.m. until 2 a.m. on those days.
We want to take you live with your traffic authority out onto the roads here at 281 and Bassey Road. You can see traffic moving along just fine in both directions. This is over by the Quarry area near downtown.
And taking a look at our satellite imagery, we actually detected a new fire this afternoon, this time south of San Antonio in eastern LaSalle County. This is very close to the city of Fowlerton. You can see the smoke plume getting carried to the southeast by the winds out there. Now, according to the LaSalle County Sheriff, there is a mandatory evacuation of the city of Fowlerton as a result of this fire. We'll get more information to you as it comes in. But otherwise, you don't see any new smoke plumes across our area. So at least that's a positive sign, whereas days past under these conditions, we've had multiple smoke plumes. We still have the red flag advisory in effect until 8 p.m. Fires can ignite and spread very rapidly with the very dry air and the gusty winds, and of course, the drought conditions that we have. As for rainfall last night, we had a few hundredths of an inch here and there. That was pretty much it. Bernie, 0.08, 0.1 near Lavernia. 11 hundredths of an inch in Canyon Lake, and New Braunfels picked up 0.07, which is the same at the International Airport officially here in town. We'll talk about when the winds finally subside, even a little bit of a chance of rain in the forecast, and some unseasonably cool temperatures. How cold and wind coming up.
Thank you, Adam. Moving now to the U.S.-Mexico border, could it mean more migrants giving themselves up at the southern border? The Biden administration could soon end asylum limits put into place at the height of the pandemic. The Associated Press reporting that change could happen May 23rd. The limitations were first issued as a way to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, but some lawmakers say it's being used as an excuse so the United States can get out of asylum obligations. Others fear it will make the current crowding issue worse. The plan not yet set in stone. President Biden saying today there will be a decision soon.
New at 5, Mexico's former president, Vicente Fox Quesada, visiting the University of the Incarnate Word campus this afternoon to give a speech and solidify his partnership with the institution. Fox, accompanied by the former First Lady of Mexico, and helping to kick off the university's new series of speakers, Leaders of the Americas. Another key part of the visit, to sign a partnership deal between UIW and Centro Fox. It's an organization that was founded by the Fox family. The goal is to advance educational programs and opportunities in the Mexican state of Guanajuato, the same state where Centro Fox and UIW have a campus.
The agreement is between the university and Central Fox, which is the first presidential library outside of United States, dedicated to academic programs, dedicated to education. What is unique about this program is that the students that are going to be joining in come from the region, but come from low-income families.
With more about Vicente Fox's visit here, here's our Myra Arthur.
Yeah, Ursula, coming to you guys from here in the newsroom. During Fox's visit to UIW today, the topic of immigration was discussed. Fox has always been vocal about immigration, and today he spoke about it with our Alicia Barrera. Coming up today at 6 o'clock, the former president of Mexico talking about the current situation along the U.S.-Mexico border, and as some detention facilities are at capacity now, the legislation that he says must change soon, and his thoughts on Dreamers. That's coming up at 6 o'clock. Plus, after months, years of a virtually empty Bexar County courthouse thanks to the pandemic and an incredible backlog of cases because of that, the courthouse is buzzing again. In-person jury trials, they're back on. We're going to check in on the criminal court system. And a story that's getting a lot of attention online today. Fans crying foul after country singer Eric Church cancels his concert this weekend at the AT&T Center. RJ Marquez tells us why Church is ditching his SA show because he's got somewhere else to be, another big-time event. He's covering the fallout and the fan reaction to that. All that and more coming your way on the news at 6.
Thank you, Myra. The Omicron variant that's caused COVID-19 cases to skyrocket in the UK, now the dominant strain of the virus in the U.S. That's according to the CDC. Here's a look at what experts say we should be doing right now.
BA2, the highly contagious Omicron subvariant, now accounts for nearly 55% of all COVID-19 cases in the U.S. That's according to the latest data from the CDC.
We know that this new subvariant BA2 is even more transmissible than the original Omicron variant, and it is spreading quickly.
The hardest hit region continues to be the Northeast, where BA2 is the cause of more than 70% of all new COVID-19 infections. Health officials warn BA2, coupled with lower mask use, may cause an uptick in cases in the U.S.
But I hope that there will be enough people vaccinated combined with prior infection and recovery that we'll be able to decouple infections from hospitalizations, and our hospitals are not going to be overwhelmed.
Right now in the U.S., COVID-19 hospitalizations are near their lowest point ever. Still, health experts say we need to be prepared going forward.
We have to make sure that we stockpile treatments, that we have enough testing, we also have enough booster doses. We have to prepare for what happens if we have another surge.
The FDA has now expanded the emergency use authorization of the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines for adults ages 50 and older to get a second booster as early as 4 months after their first booster dose of any COVID-19 vaccine. But the CDC says only about 29% of those fully vaccinated have gotten that first booster shot. You're still ahead at 5. Have a messy carpet? Well, when vacuuming doesn't do the trick, it's time to call in the cleaners. But you don't have to hire someone if you have the right tool at home. We take a look at the best carpet cleaners coming up.
Gas prices have gone down a bit, but other necessities aren't seeing that same slump. After the break, we're talking inflation and what experts predict through the coming months. Many of us are wondering, when will gas and food prices start coming down? Well, the answer, not anytime soon. Experts think prices could even be higher in the next few months. The USDA is predicting that grocery prices could go up 4% throughout the year. They also think the average price of eating out will also go up. That's partly because Ukraine and Russia usually export a lot of the world's wheat and corn.
New at 5, spring cleaning the carpets. They take a beating from the muddy paws and kids' shoes, and don't forget the coffee spills. Vacuuming doesn't always cut it. So 12 on your side's Marilyn Moore shows us which carpet cleaners work best.
It's a dog's life. Midnight loves lounging on the rugs, the carpets, and sofa. But doggy cleanup can be a challenge.
He has a pretty sensitive stomach, so he has vomiting episodes from time to time.
Weekly vacuuming isn't usually enough in homes with kids and pets. That's where a carpet cleaner comes in. But which one? Consumer Reports tested 20 machines and found big differences in price and performance. It was a dirty job. First red clay, then water and a roller to embed that mess before it dried overnight.
We have the cleaners make 8 cleaning passes over the carpet, then 8 passes to suck the solution out.
The results? The Hoover Power Dash Pet for about $100 is a best buy. It did a very good job removing the moisture, so less dry time. Want to spot clean area rugs and upholstery? Consumer Reports tested 2 portables made by Bissell, the Little Green Portable Carpet Cleaner and the Little Green Pro Heat version, which includes a stairs tool. They compared the machines to 2 Resolve fabric cleaning sprays. Testers spot clean stains on chairs, carpet, and car upholstery and use them on 8 tough stains.
In the end, both Bissell models did a better job than the Resolve sprays. But keep in mind that in many cases, a clean spot will stand out if you don't clean the entire surface, and these machines made it easier to do that.
So if you have pets, one of these helpers may be your new best friend. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Looking outside with live cam, look at that beautiful weather as we enter into our fiesta era.
That's fiesta weather right there, Adam Caskey.
It is. And, well, usually fiesta weather, you have some high humidity. Everybody's sweaty and sticky.
I'm glad it's earlier this year for no other reason than the temperatures.
It's going to make a big difference, especially when we think back to when we had it, in the early summer last year.
Oh, that was brutal.
The pseudo fiesta, yeah. Let's talk about the wind. That's the big headline out there today. Another day with very gusty winds. I mean, these are the most recent wind gusts between 25 and 30 miles per hour, even 36 miles per hour in Hondo. And the wind has just been relentless for a while. It's going to quickly subside this evening. That wind is going to really simmer down. I mean, you look at Del Rio gusting to 36. However, just within the matter of a few hours, we'll see those wind gusts closer to 10 miles per hour. That's it. And that's a gust. That's not the sustained wind. So by 10 o'clock, 13 miles per hour. By 11 o'clock, 10 miles per hour. And midnight, we're talking 8 miles per hour. So the wind really simmering down just in the coming hours. We're still dealing with it out there right now. It's after sunset when it's really going to calm down. Of course, the air is dry. That's another piece to this puzzle with the wildfires we've been having, in the new one today, this afternoon, near Fowlerton. That's ongoing. Dry air. Dew points currently mostly in the 30s. Relative humidity down closer to 10%. So very dry air. And we need some more moisture in the air to help us out. That's not really going to happen until we get into the weekend. By Saturday, dew points a little closer to 60, and they'll be there throughout the weekend and even early next week. You'll actually notice some mugginess back in the air. More indicative of fiesta. Monday, of course, the river parade, dew point of 65 degrees, but very dry air until we get to the weekend. Here's the big picture. Of course, we need rainfall. We had 7/100 of an inch earlier this morning before sunrise as that thin line of rain quickly moved in and moved out. Just a few hundredths of an inch here and there. But part of that whole system is this severe weather outbreak that you see basically from Louisiana through Mississippi, all the way up into western Tennessee, and even stretching into southern Illinois. This is the danger zone this evening, or this afternoon and evening. Widespread severe thunderstorms and even the potential for some larger tornadoes. So that's where the activity is. Good rain associated with it. We just couldn't tap into any of those rain showers. And everything on the backside here in New Mexico, that's not going to be making it here, unfortunately. So our rain chances going forward, we have one chance here in the extended forecast, and that comes Monday afternoon, about a 30% chance. Tuesday, we've got it at 20, but I think we may even eliminate that chance in the days ahead. So we're looking at Monday at about 30%. A few afternoon pop-up thunderstorms are possible at that point. Otherwise, no big widespread rainfall expected or any big system that can at least trigger more widespread rain, unfortunately. Let's talk temperatures now. 70s in the hill country. Fredericksburg 74, Kerrville 76. Meanwhile, 88 Pleasanton, Cotulla at 88 degrees. Officially here in San Antonio, we're at 83. You get to Castroville, it's 86, Stinson 88, and Bernie area right now at 77. By tomorrow morning, you're going to notice a bit of a chill in the air, at least relative to this time of year. Bernie and Bulverde 46, Converse 48 degrees, along with Devine. Utopia 46, Bandera 43 degrees along with Comfort, so well below the average. Average low temperatures are in the mid-50s this time of year. So a cool start to the day, some long sleeves briefly, but by the afternoon, as you can see, we get back up into the 80s. We're thinking about 84 here in San Antonio. Wall-to-wall sunshine, not much of a wind, just variable at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. During Fiesta, looks like we'll be dropping into the 70s with low humidity. Highs, though, in the 80s for the foreseeable future.
Going to be very comfortable, Fiesta.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
All right, let's go to the AT&T Center right now where the Spurs are making things uncomfortable, especially for the LA Lakers, Greg.
Yeah, they could actually eliminate the Lakers from the playoffs if they don't make the play-in position. And thanks to the Lakers losing, the Spurs are now in that 10th play-in position. We'll talk about that as they prepare to host one of the beasts of the Western Conference, of course, the Memphis Grizzlies, and one of the favorites to win the Valero Texas Open in town and talking coming up. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome live to the AT&T Center where the Spurs return home to play host to the Memphis Grizzlies and hopefully hang on to that 10th play-in position in the Western Conference. That's after their most successful road trip since 2007 with at least 4 games or more that included victories over the Warriors, the Blazers, the Pelicans, most recently the Rockets in Houston. But the Spurs have not been able to beat the Grizzlies this season with losses on New Year's Eve in Memphis, 118-105 on January the 26th here at the AT&T Center, 118-110, and in Memphis again on February the 28th, 118-105. And even without MVP candidate Ja Morant out with right knee soreness, the Grizzlies have still been able to win 5 in a row, 9 out of their last 10.
There's a real pressure on these games right now, and I think they're doing a great job. I think DeJounte is taking a lot of leadership steps. I think Jakob has been, incredibly solid. I think Zach's growing into himself after his injury. Primo's growing up a lot, so. It's a lot of positives. You can really go down the list.
All right, there is a matchup tonight. Tip-off is at 7:30. All the highlights for you tonight on the Night Beat. The reason why the Spurs are in the 10th play-in position is thanks to the Mavericks. They throttled the Lakers 128-110, dropping the purple and gold to 11th in the Western Conference last night. Now tied with the Spurs for the overall record, and the Spurs own the tiebreaker. Luka Doncic led the way with 34 points, part of his 10th triple-double of the season. The Lakers were playing without LeBron James, who, by the way, is still dealing with chronic ankle issues. The 100th anniversary of the Valero Texas Open tees off tomorrow, but before that can happen, they play the annual Pro-Am today. That's where the pros who are in town to compete in the event are paired with amateurs to raise money for charity. Among those having a little fun before the tee-off tomorrow is Tony Finau and Rory McIlroy, who is ranked 9th in the world and one of his favorites to unseat Jordan Spieth as the defending champion a week before the Masters.
I think around the greens here is it can prepare you. I think the runoffs around the greens, the undulations on the greens, some of the shots that you face if you do miss it. This is a generous course off the tee. Augusta's somewhat generous as well, but it's just a different look. But I think around the greens, more sort of the chipping and pitching aspects are good preparation.
Good to have Rory in town. Good to have the PGA in town as well. And we'll have more live, by the way, from the JW Marriott Resort course. That will be tomorrow starting at 5. Live from the AT&T Center, Greg Simmons, KSAT 12 Sports.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
We'll be right back.
So tomorrow, a bit of a chill in the air in the morning relative to this time of year. Mid to upper 40s at sunrise and then mid 80s by the afternoon. Nothing but sunshine. Very similar on Friday. We get into the weekend. A little extra humidity will give us some warmer mornings closer to 60, but highs remain mostly in the 80s.
Thanks, Adam, and thank you for watching the News at 5 with us.
World News up next. We'll see you back here at 6.